Arhibau, sajam kulture građenja i održivog razvoja. Obiđite relevantne izlagače iz graditeljskog sektora te sudjelujte na konferenciji o izazovima oporavka i otpornosti. Arena Zagreb od 5. do 8. listopada. Više informacija na Archibau.hr.
Hello, we are joined by Teresa Calix from the Porto School of Architecture. Welcome.
Thank you.
And in this conference you are participating on the panel regarding the new European Bauhaus. So maybe we can start talking about it in general terms. What is the new European Bauhaus and how many years has it been going on?
Well, the new European Bauhaus, I think it's about 3 years now, I suppose. It's, in a way, we could say it's a challenge that was launched by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, in a way calling us architects and artists to join this Green Deal movement that expects to bring Europe to a neutral place in 2030. So, in a way, what she believes is regarding the Bauhaus experience, the real Bauhaus experience from the beginning of the 20th century, sorry. What she, I think the idea that she took from that experience, that it was really visionary and it connected in a very interesting way science and art, because at that point industry was really coming forward and there was an opportunity for artists to join that movement of technology and make elements and study in an artistic way ways of getting everybody to understand how the beauty was an important concept also for our quality of life. So it was in fact an opportunity to relate arts and industry, arts and technology, arts and science.
And crafts also.
And crafts, of course. And so in a way it's a good, I think it's a good comparison, because what Ursula von der Leyen is telling us is, again, we must join forces between arts and science and technology and deal with this huge challenge that is the climate changes and the neutral climate Europe that we expect to be. And well, now we have this energetic crisis, so it's clear that something must be done. Yes.
We've had a whole series of crises from the beginning of the project up until today.
Yeah, it's true. But then New European Bauhaus is really focused on these 3 keywords, which are sustainable, inclusive, and actually I think Ursula von der Leyen called it together, but it's about inclusion and beautiful. So I think to summarize it, it's like this.
Yeah, and what's the thing that has always fascinated me about the new European Bauhaus is this key difference in regards to the first Bauhaus 100 years ago, which was like an avant-garde movement, an underdog, which had a complete lack of institutional support, especially from the highest level. Are you personally kind of daunted with this task, you know, the idea that so much depends on a project? Do you think are you afraid it could hinder the freedom of the Bauhaus movement?
Well, I'm really an optimistic person, so I think it will happen somehow. Of course, the European Bauhaus is like a good metaphor for joining people together, but at the end, as I'm a teacher, I understand that my students, so the next generation, is really interested in changing. So even if the European Bauhaus didn't exist, I think at the end we would do this major transformation in our society, because we still have some conventional ways of looking to things, but the young people are trying to change the perspective. So European Bauhaus, I think, will make it happen sooner. So I really feel that it's going to happen anyway, yeah.
And within the European Bauhaus, you're specifically included in the project NEB Goes South. So could you tell us more about that?
Yes, well, NEB Goes South, which is now a NEB Lab that was selected by the European Commission as one of the 3 first NEB Labs, is at the end bottom-up initiative from 6 schools of architecture from 6 different countries in the south of Europe.
So the countries are
Portugal, France, Italy, Croatia, Greece, and Spain. I forgot Spain. So what this initiative took place because we were looking at the principles of an European Bauhaus and how they would be somehow transformed in solutions, in experiences, in practices, even in funding. And at the same time, we understood that we are quite different from the Central Europe and from the Northern Europe. So somehow we thought that it was important that we could join forces in order to show a particular perspective in the scope of the European Bauhaus, because we have the same kind of climates, we have mostly the same culture. One of the things that I show usually when I'm explaining what is NEB Goes South is the difference between the countries that use butter and the countries that use olive oil. And it's really interesting to see that the Mediterranean coast and Portugal also all use olive oil. So it's just an idea that shows how we have a lot of similarities and how we should work on these similarities, because the principles of course are very generic, but the way we deal with our particular geographies, with our particular culture, the way we engage people, it's quite different if we are talking about the south of Europe or the north of Europe. So in a way it's kind of something that it's an initiative that wants to contribute to the overall effort, but at the same time looking at it in a specific way.
So this is especially important in the field of education, because this very NEB Lab, NEB Goes South, is based around the activity in schools, right?
Yeah.
And this is not your only project in regarding the integration of architecture schools of Europe. You're also active in EAAE.
Yeah, because we really believe that in order to change the mentality, we have to deal with education. I think of course, there's a lot of ways of getting there, but education is a really good way of achieving this change that we need. So, of course, NEB Goes South is one way of dealing with it, directly from these schools of architecture and expanding this network of schools of architecture, but also preparing the way to the engagement of other disciplines too. But also through EAAE, because it is at the end it's the Association of Schools of Architecture, and it's quite important that we make this effort visible and we make people understand that we need a real change in the curricula in order to make our students understand, not just make them understand, but also improve the curriculum in order they fulfill the needs for the present situation.
Would you say that you have seen significant changes in the curriculum of your own school in recent years?
Well, it's kind of hard to do that. So
and very slow.
And very slow, and that's why it's important to have these metaphors for big ideas, because at the end We still have conventional ways of doing everything, and university sometimes crystallizes around some particular ways that have been there for years and worked at a particular time, but nowadays need to be updated. And of course, these initiatives have also envision also to change our own institutions, because we have to engage even people that are older and probably have been doing architecture from the beginning with a different scope, with a different approach, and sometimes it's hard to make this change. And that's why the students are very important, because sometimes they are the driver for change, because they ask us also, why aren't you teaching or talking about this particular subject or this particular issue that it's quite important and everybody's talking about it outside. And so this is also a way of getting the academia closer to the real world.
So you do believe that students do have a key role in the reshaping of the academic community itself, not just the curricula and so on.
I think we all have to work together, but of course, in a way, I would put it in a business way, they are our clients. So we have to fulfill their needs at the end. And if it becomes too clear that we are not fulfilling their needs because we are getting really far from what's going on in real world, of course they will tell us that we must change. So of course this is a joint work that has to be done, but I think students have a very important role. They will be the next professionals.
And the changes in the academic community are in itself a metaphor again for the changes we need to do apply to the wider society.
At the end, I believe this is really, an European Bauhaus stands for a real change of mentality at all levels. That's why the beauty part of it is quite important, because you have to take the civil society also with you, and it's just not only technology and only scientific knowledge that needs to make the change, but you have to believe in it, because your world is becoming nicer, beautiful, more comfortable. So aesthetics is also a part of this improvement.
Which was a kind of forgotten aspect for many, many years, right? Or misinterpreted.
But sometimes because we put the tonic in the technological change, and the 20th century was something very technological. We were always getting further and further in what related to improvements in the scientific and technological world, and in a way I think the humans found that they could do anything. So they could be whatever they could, because technology was like became part of us. So and then I think that COVID helped to start this change. It's crazy to say that that COVID helped something, but in fact, in a way, I think we were
the reaction to COVID. We can maybe put it that
because
way.
we understood that somehow we had this huge challenge with this animal virus that technology or the scientific improvements couldn't deal with it. So after all, the human race is not that strong as it seemed. So I think it's
such factors ground us, right?
So in a way it's clear. Of course, at another scale, the climatic changes are clear, more and more clear each day. So it's clear that we have to move forward in another direction. What we've been doing in the past it's really not good for ourselves at the end.
Especially
yeah.
Well, let us hope that the initiatives such as the new European Bauhaus can really help to achieve those goals and maybe save us from ourselves in a way.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It was really nice to be here.
Likewise.
Arhibau, sajam kulture građenja i održivog razvoja. Obiđite relevantne izlagače iz graditeljskog sektora te sudjelujte na konferenciji o izazovima oporavka i otpornosti. Arena Zagreb od 5. do 8. listopada. Više informacija na Archibau.hr.